is Sarah Hessel, and today I'm here to talk about character in terms of The Handmaid's Tale. According to Burroway in her book Imaginative Writing, she explains that character can be presented through many different ways. These include desire, image, voice, action, thought, conflict, and how the author presents the character. In this presentation, I will primarily focus on how Margaret Atwood employs conflict to show the character development of the main character offered in her book, The Handmaid's Tale. Burroway defines character through conflict by creating a character that has conflict between methods of presentation. In The Handmaid's Tale, this can be applied to conflicts between Offred's thoughts and her actions. At the beginning of the book, Offred can be described as grieving and cautious while being extremely passive towards her situation. She only rebels in small ways, mostly in her own head by imagining ways of killing herself, the only way she thought she could get out of her situation, and by remembering her life before Gilead. By recounting memories of her husband and her child, she allows herself to resist conforming to society mentally while putting her at no increased physical risk of being found out and killed for it. This shows the conflict of her rebellious thoughts in her head to her non-existent physical actions to attempt to change her situation. On page 39, Offred states, "If it's a story I'm telling, then I have control over the ending. Then there will be an ending to the story, and real life will come after it. I could pick up where I left off." By telling the story of her life to an imaginary reader or listener, it allows her to feel control over what's happening, when in reality, she has no control. By calling it a story, she is mentally making her reality into a fictional environment, which allows her to believe that one day her life will go back to the way it was, like it never happened. This thought shows conflict between her actual reality, because while she is telling her life as a story, she is still living through the nightmare every day and trying to escape her reality mentally but not physically. Offred eventually starts to imagine ways she can get out of her situation. She creates this fantasy where her husband is alive and is biding his time to come back and rescue her. On page 106, she states, "The message will say that I must have patience. Sooner or later he will get me out. We will find her wherever they put her. She'll remember us and we will be all three of us together. Meanwhile, I must endure, keep myself safe for later." Offred is refusing to accept her new reality and the likelihood that Luke is not coming to save her. Offred shows her passiveness by never thinking about how she could rescue herself, other than the multiple ways she has previously stated of killing herself. Offred doesn't try to set up any type of situation that could lead to her escape or try to better her situation, but mentally is relying on the situation where someone from her past can come save her. As the book progresses, Offred takes more steps to heal the conflict between her thoughts and actions by increasing the amount of small physical rebellions to society, but only at another's command, such as the commander's ordering to see her in his office and the commander's wife ordering her to have an affair with Nick the chauffeur. A little later in the book, Offred started to act more in accordance with her mental attitude. She physically rebels on her own accord, including taking the initiative to ask the commander to have things that are illegal for her to have, such as the face cream, and by asking to read books while she's in the study. She also chooses to have a continued affair with Nick without the commander's wife's knowledge. On page 270, Offred states, I tell him my real name, and I feel, therefore, I am known." Offred opens up and tells Nick information that could get her killed. She is not ordered to do any of this, but chose to do it because it is what she wanted. She wanted to feel known as her real, true self, not the shell she presents to society. This quote shows Offred starting to gain slivers of her independence and voice back from her oppressive society, especially by claiming her true name as her own in the presence of another. Offred is no longer only remembering her true self in flashbacks of memories, but actively sharing herself with others, even at the risk of her losing her life. At the end of the book, Offred is acting more in line with her rebellious thoughts and wants to break free of society's control of her, but agrees to let her fate lie in the hands of strangers whose allegiance is unknown, because her only other option was to take the no-risk way out and kill herself. On page 295, she states, "Whether this is my end or a new beginning, I have no way of knowing. I have given myself over into the hands of a stranger because it can't be helped." Offred chooses to risk her life and go with them and hope that they are part of the rebellion rather than hang herself and take the easy way out. This shows Offred's separation from the control that society had on her actions, and also shows her working to better her situation while still being dependent on a stranger's will for her. Margaret Atwood employs conflict between Offred's thoughts and actions because it shows how much Gilead has affected her and the others around her. By gradually healing the divide, Atwood showed the character development of Offred from a passive to a more active character. Thank you.